Type in your questions using the chat feature at the bottom of the screen, select all panelists, and we will try our best to address the questions during the Q&A. And with that, I'd like to introduce the presenters for today. We've got Reza Cameron, Senior Manager of Product Marketing, and Doug McDougall, Carrier Sales Engineer from Western Canada. Reza, over to you.
Great, thank you, Claire, and welcome everybody to this TELUS Business Connect webinar. I wanted just to start off and kind of introduce kind of the areas that we're going to be talking about during this webinar, and the intention behind it is really to give existing customers a chance to really understand some of the more complex capabilities that are available within the Business Connect system, things that perhaps you weren't aware of. This is intended to be an interactive session. So in addition to actually having material, we'll actually go through demos, and there'll be an opportunity at the end to ask questions. So you'll have your chat capabilities available to you. Feel free to use those chat capabilities to ask your questions along the way, and we will be answering those questions at the end of the session. So as part of the agenda that we wanted to cover today, we're going to be talking about a few areas. One is integrations. You all may be aware of some of the branded integrations that we have today, but we wanted to cover some specific ones related to the more common ones that are being used, Google and Salesforce being the two that we're going to cover as part of this session. We'll talk a little bit more about the mobile application and some of the capabilities that you can run through your mobile application through Business Connect. The meetings application, so the capabilities of what meetings can deliver beyond just hosting a meeting. What are some of the tricks and traits that you can actually run, and some of the other more advanced features that you can start to enable with your meetings application. We'll talk a little bit about call center features that are part of the Business Connect platform. So a lot of these capabilities, which are predominantly within the Premium and Premium Plus account, but essentially allow for a lot of the basic call center features that are being used. And most organizations or platforms that actually charge for these services are actually included within the Business Connect platform. Then we'll go through some live demos across the way, and then finally some questions. In this particular session, every section, so after the integrations piece, we'll actually go through live demos. Same thing with the mobile applications, meetings, call center features, and then again, the questions at the end. So let's get into it. We'll talk a little bit about integrations. So from the integrations perspective, I just wanted to mention to everybody that the idea behind integrations is really bringing the functions and features of Business Connect into your everyday applications that you use every day. So again, eliminating the need for Business Connect users to switch between programs for basic things like calling, faxing, texting, and meeting capabilities or audio conferencing capabilities. The integrated Business Connect capabilities within this also enables things like document sharing directly from your computer, mobile device, or storage device, and saves time and simplifies your overall communication needs. The other value add that I'll mention here is that this is a constantly evolving branded integrations list. So, we are consistently working on new integrations all the time. So what you see today here may not necessarily be the same thing that we see, 3 or 4 months from now. There is because of that constant evolution, none of these obviously go away, but we're constantly adding more and more down the road. So again, this is essentially a integrations piece that is constantly evolving. So let's talk a little bit about the Google's integration, and really the Google integration is most powerful for small businesses who are using Google, or enterprise companies that are using the G Suite product, or what was at one point called the Google Enterprise, as a default platform. It gives you the ability to communicate from any device, desk phone, mobile phone, your computer, laptop, tablet, and even switch between devices with no interruption. You can quickly find Business Connect and Google Contacts from one easy-to-search screen. You can access archived audio portions from your Hangouts, or with your Business Connect call recording capabilities. You can view communication histories, calls, texts, faxes, voicemails at any time. Another great benefit is the click-to-dial functionality. which really can be done from the email or a contact that allows you to see a number that somebody is providing you or something in your contact list that essentially you click and it will invoke the Business Connect dialer in order to then dial it out. So, the values associated with this are obviously working within the actual application and having all the great features and functionalities of Business Connect, along with all the value-added capabilities within Google. The other advantage that I'll mention here for those that are Google users is that this is also WebRTC enabled. So what WebRTC does, it's a technology that actually embeds the Business Connect dialer into the actual application. And what that really means is that it's no longer hardware dependent on a PC. So for example, if somebody is traveling and has already downloaded the WebRTC enabled Business Connect dialer into the Google application, you can have the same experience from anywhere. So if I log into a hotel terminal, at the business center and want to access my Google account, I can essentially go in and do that. If I have Business Connect enabled, it'll be automatically set up and working as if I was using it from my own PC. You have your single business identity enabled. All those features and capabilities are ready to go. So again, it's intended to give you the capabilities of leveraging everything that you use from Business Connect just within the advanced features of what Google provides. So here's just a mini case study that we had done with Linda Bell, and this organization is, they were trying to standardize on Google Chromebooks for its employees. Now, I'll stress here that though the integration says it was for 100+ locations, the key point here is that the Google components are really, it's not just for big business. This is really scalable at any level. Most of the case studies that get developed usually are much larger customers, but we've seen tons of organizations that are in the small business space that are leveraging Google capabilities with Business Connect in order to take advantage of the integration piece. In this particular case, this organization is helping children and adults improve language processing. So they were founded in 1986. They're based in California. They've helped over 100,000 students and employ their teaching methods to over 75,000 teachers and administrators. And what they were looking for was sort of a common ecosystem of Google and communications to sort of extend and support their services, not only internally amongst their group because they standardize on Google, but externally to teachers as well as children through things like video support and ongoing training. And one of the benefits of their solution that they didn't have before is expanding capabilities, not just within their local communities, but also the ability to extend their services nationally and internationally through a common platform like Google. So it ended up being a very useful case, and this is just an example of some of the powerful things that you can do through this type of an integration. The next one I wanted to chat about is Salesforce. So again, from a Salesforce perspective, it provides similar capabilities. Once the application is downloaded and integrated into your Salesforce account, you have the ability to access it from anywhere. You have incoming call capabilities, click to dial capabilities. You can log in and use real-time call logs that integrate with your Salesforce account records. You can create new records while you're on a physical call. And essentially, the app, runs entirely into the cloud, so there's no software required for this. You simply need to follow the instructions of how to download the plugin. And once that plugin has been downloaded, you're good to go. Available through, Windows XP or Mac OS X, Mountain Lion or later. So essentially, all those capabilities are built in. And if you look at the administration guides that are available through Business Connect, you can see how those can be downloaded. This is also available through the mobile device as well through your Salesforce One. So just a quick, use case of how this works. We picked a representative from ABC Company, Jack, who's a sales guy, he's a rep, and is beginning his day of prospecting using Salesforce. So he logs in and instantly is connected to his Business Connect phone system through Salesforce. After viewing various Salesforce information, Jack has a reminder to call a customer. He searches his Salesforce customer account information and instantly dials the customer within the Salesforce app. By default, Business Connect dials out the customer using Jack's ID, so his personal Business Connect ID, and the company phone number. So what we're seeing here is, the ability to instant login, increased efficiency across not just not just account records, but phone records as well. The easy integration capabilities between Business Connect and Salesforce, and then click to dial type of functionality that's available at their disposal. So, moving on, Jack, decides to leave the office early and work from home. He logs into his Salesforce account from his computer, from his home computer, giving him the same seamless access for Salesforce and Business Connect. A call comes in, and Jack is notified from his caller ID that Mark Miller from the Miller Lumber Company is calling. Along with the caller ID, Jack is provided with the account history of the Miller Lumber Company to ensure that he's well informed about the organization and last conversations even before he picks up the call. During the call, Jack begins taking detailed notes on the customer problems, impacts, and benefits to identify the ideal solution. All notes are captured in real time into his Salesforce account while they're actively engaged on the call. So again, you're seeing the seamless access capabilities, the instant identification of calls and account information, and the ability to add new account records or changes to account records in real time on a call. So while Jack is finalizing the call with Mark, he receives an important call from another customer, Susan, who works for RBD Manufacturing. Been a long-standing customer with ABC Software. While Jack is still on the call with Mark, the Business Connect system automatically opens up another dialer, providing account history details on RBD Manufacturing. Jack decides to call Susan back and let the call go to voicemail, and then clicks the call log option to ensure it's marked in her Salesforce account record. Before calling Susan back, Jack decides to look at the call history and notices that he's been spending an excessive amount of time on post-sale discussions with Susan that are far lengthier than what other customers have been needing or required of a similar size. So while RBD is an important client, Jack makes a conscious effort to be more efficient with Susan on all future phone call discussions so that he can focus on other sales opportunities. So again, managing multiple calls, your call log capabilities, and call assigned disposition. So one final point relates to more of the reporting is that Jack has bi-weekly meetings with his Salesforce manager, Bill. And during Jack's meeting, Bill pulls up recent Salesforce reports for Jack and notices that Jack's projected sales targets are much higher than expected. In further reviewing his activity, Bill pulls all sales rep call log activities and realizes that Jack's call volume metrics are much higher than in past months. In addition, the report also indicates that Jack's call volume performance, is not only higher than past months, but it's higher than any of the other sales reps within Bill's group. So he's outperforming in his own call volume capabilities from his own previous months, as well as other group members. Bill informs Jack how pleased he is with the overall performance. So this is just an example of some of the types of integrations that can be done. And so what we'll do right now is I'm going to pass this over to Doug, who's going to kind of go through a walkthrough of both the Google and Salesforce capabilities so that you can get some real world examples of essentially how this works. So Doug, do you want to walk them through this?
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Reza. And I'm just going to do my screen share. And there we go. The Google integration for TELUS Business Connect really allows for that seamless integration with or the seamless interface with your email system, calendaring, and messaging all in one browser environment. So that dialer sits inside the browser, allowing for click to dial. For example, I get emails with phone numbers in them. and that allows me to touch on a particular number and dial it by pressing the button, and out that call goes. It dials and makes that outbound call. Inbound calls will show that caller ID as well. Full access to all of my contacts within Google that are authorized, of course, and giving me the ability to select those contacts and dial them as well, just by hitting that telephone icon to make that call. With the meetings integration, being able to schedule video conferences and audio conferences, inviting with that Google Calendar integration is very tight, and then automatically shows up inside the Google integration itself. Okay, now I'll slip over to the other integration. I'll just stop that one for a second. And we'll bring up Salesforce. And there's a Salesforce integration. The dialer and control module sits inside the browser, allowing for those inbound and outbound calls. Now I'm going to make a real call coming in. I've used my my cell phone as a potential client. And when that call shows up, of course, it's going to give me the information that's required to manage that call, with a heads up of who that contact is. And I have to share my entire screen for a second. Sorry about that. There we go. There's my entire screen. So I can answer that call. When I answer that call, it opens up my dialer automatically, connects that audio to that call, and automatically opens the Salesforce account with that caller ID information that's tied to that caller. And at the same time, as Reza mentioned, adding notes to that current call, allowing me to have other notes that are related to that particular client, as well. If I have more than one contact information that's tied to that one phone number, I can use that as kind of the trigger to switch to different user profiles. At this moment, I've only got one contact with this particular phone number, and that allows me to manage that quite effectively. And that goes back to you, Reza.
Great, thanks, Doug. So we'll just bring back up the screen here to Business Connect. Okay. So moving on to the next topic, we'll talk a little bit about the mobile application. So one thing that I'll point out is that the mobile application, and some of these things you may be familiar with if you're actively using the mobile application, but there are active control features and capabilities, which are your soft keys, accessible to conveniently use various features on the Business Connect mobile app. So, mute capabilities, this is activating your microphone for better incoming sound and minimizes background noises on all calls. You've got your hold capabilities, putting other parties on hold, tapping the hold button to go back and forth to the call. Transfer capabilities, which gives you the ability to obviously transfer calls between other users within the Business Connect system. You've got your speaker capabilities here, allows you to toggle between using your headset and loudspeaker of your device. Switching to carrier, so again, we'll transfer a VoIP call to your smartphone mobile carrier, so that if voice degradation happens within VoIP, you can rely on a stable connection through your mobile provider. In this case, TELUS. Your call flip capabilities, which enable you to essentially never miss a call again. So the ability to move between different types of devices, whether it be your desk phone to your soft phone, to your mobile phone. So the ability to really maneuver between devices without really dropping the call. Your keypad functionalities for essentially using your dialer to either make a phone call or to use those capabilities within the call itself for touchtone capabilities like IVR systems. And then call recording capabilities, so that you can actively on demand have calls recorded. Users are informed about calls being recorded, but essentially it gives you the ability to do this and then stores these records into your online account. And then Call Park, which is the ability to have a secure park location available or at your disposal that essentially provides the ability to have a secure connection where users within the Business Connect group can have private calls that can either be parked or picked up. So we're going to talk just a little bit about each one of these features. We did mention briefly about the call flip capabilities, which allows you to manage calls between any device on your Business Connect system or your extension. So essentially never cut your calls short. It's if you're forced to leave the office in the middle of a call, simply flip the call to your smartphone and keep talking. It's slightly different from your call transfer capabilities. Calls move with call flip are meant to be picked up by the person initiating the transaction. So versus transfer that essentially is meant to be picked up by somebody else. And the soft key buttons are available for that. From a call recording perspective, two types of call recordings are available. One is on-demand call recording capabilities, which what we described is the ability for a user to start a call recording individually. The automatic call recording capabilities are done by the administrator. And in the automatic call recording capabilities, this is where the organization can set up a number of parameters associated with call recording, recording inbound calls, outbound calls, the entire organization, specific users, specific groups. Typically we've seen value associated with that, with specific industries like the legal, healthcare, government verticals that have benefited greatly from these types of initiatives and the ability to control those things. Now, the automatic call recording capabilities are only available through Premium and Premium Plus accounts. Your on-demand call recording capabilities are available to standard, Premium, and Premium Plus users. So just to be clear. The reporting capabilities, essentially, which are graphical interfaces that are available, really are intended to provide you with a snapshot view of the Business Connect system. So the ability to see inbound, outbound calling capabilities, to see your call queue activities, to see phone numbers or phone records associated with individuals, departments, or company, depending on who's accessing it. But essentially, the passive report capabilities that an administrator or user would have off of their PC, essentially extended to your mobile phone. So we'll go through an example of that. And then finally, the call park capabilities, which is really the ability to create, as I mentioned before, private park locations that are only visible to users within that group. So if I'm parking I've created a private group and I'm parking a specific call that I want to have picked up by Doug. Essentially, I can park that call, and then Doug is able to pick up that call from anywhere as long as he's part of that park group. You can set up, up to 100 different park groups, and then have up to 50 simultaneous park activities that are happening at the same time. And again, we'll go through that in a little bit more detail. But we've seen this being used, by receptionists, essentially managing on behalf of executives. We've seen them being used in warehouses. As part of parking locations from a front desk to back to the warehouse, along in conjunction with a paging system, and then small call centers basically that like to essentially have specific calls that are parked and offered through supervisors or executives that need to intervene on something. So we'll pause there for a second. I'm going to have Doug pass this over to Doug again, and have him walk you through a little bit more of the mobile features and how these work. So Doug, you may be on mute.
Yes, thank you, Reza. I've got my my phone connected to my PC via SideSync using a piece of Samsung software. This allows me to show what the cell phone is doing, and I've got the mobile app running on my Samsung Galaxy phone, having the ability to have the phone actually do all the functions, receiving those inbound calls. I've got that inbound call coming in, and first off, I need to flip that call. I can use the call flip button to flip to my cellular if I wish, as well as using star codes to have that call actually flipped over to my desk phone. I'm going to flip my call to my desk phone right now, and I've got my desk phone set as *1, so I just click on *1, and instantly my desk phone starts ringing, and I end the call on my cell phone, pick up the call on the handset, and I continue that conversation. Another call comes in. Say I have to record this call. I have the ability to press that record button. And of course, I'm immediately notified that that call is being recorded on a pop-up screen, and the notification is broadcast to all parties that the call has been recorded. And of course, then I can stop that. And the same message or another message is also broadcast to say the recording is completed. Now, one of the really cool things inside the mobile edition is having the ability to see those reports that Reza has mentioned, taking that raw call log data and turning it into a graphical format makes it much easier to understand what is happening in the phone system, getting your last total number of calls, inbound, outbound, answered, missed, voicemails, and then getting a graphical representation of those to really see the quantity of those voicemails, outbound, inbound calls. And then breaking that down via date, okay? So I've got the last 7 days specified in this particular report, and of course broken down by hour, and seeing the amount of calls that come in during the day. Maybe I'm staffed incorrectly, maybe I have to adjust that. Also, I can drill down further into queues or call groups. I can drill down further into users, individuals, or phone numbers that are being dialed outbound. Now I'm going to go back to the summary, and we're going to look at a longer period to see the quantity of calls. I'm just going to select the last 90 days and save that report. It does take a second for the system to generate those reports. Once you select the date, you hit save, and the report will start to generate. Now, this really has a great business case around it to do with staffing requirements and calls that have come into particular organizations. They're not really, aware of their call quantity and what time of day they really come in. And that hourly, that double bell curve, you see it before and after lunch, that allows for that staffing requirements to make sure you have the right number of people answering the right number of calls. Now, Call Park is a feature that Reza mentioned that allows for those inbound calls to be parked in a private location. I've got another incoming call come in. I'm going to hit Park. Now, I do have selectively a public location or those private hold positions. There's that public location that would give me a star code to be able to answer or retrieve it. But the hold positions automatically put that call on hold. And what happens is on the mobile app, you also have the ability to automatically connect to your paging, whether that's handset paging or through a public address system through a VoIP SIP adapter. So that integration is built into the mobile app. So the mobile phone can now page out to say, hey, Reza, can you pick up that call on hold 1? And I'm going to bypass that just for this example. Now, you're probably wondering, how do I answer that call and pick that up? Notice I have a red button at my More button at the top. And there's a Park location. I have one call that's sitting on Park, and there's that call. It actually shows me who it's from as well, so I can manage which calls are answered and which ones are not. And that concludes the demo on the mobile edition.
Wonderful, Doug. Thank you very much. So we'll bring back up the screen here. Okay, so next we want to, we want to talk about meetings. So from a meetings perspective, the meetings application, in a nutshell, it connects from anywhere around the world. You're able to set up, video conferencing and web share capabilities from your PC, your Mac, your tablet, or smartphone. The ability to really boost productivity by bringing together remote teams and ensuring, better and faster collaboration, increasing business communication efficiency without necessarily having unproductive travel time and expenses. That's really some of the advantages of using the meeting application. So certainly the face-to-face meeting capabilities in HD, and for the meeting application, we offer three different tiers. So the standard tier allows up to 4 users to be shared as part of the meeting. In the Premium and Premium Plus, these additions have changed. Initially, the Premium was 25 users and Premium Plus was 50 users. They've now been increased at no charge to 50 and 75. So, just the ability to really expand capabilities across screen sharing, whiteboarding, desktop sharing, and the values of essentially having those meeting capabilities across any device, whether it be your tablet, your smartphone, or your PC. So some of the meeting capabilities that you may be familiar with, some that may be new, certainly the ability to screen share, the ability to not only screen share, but actually have, whiteboarding sessions, drop texts, a number of anecdotes that are available to you to really make that more of an interactive session. The ability to record meetings, which I find to be a very, very handy capability. This webinar, as an example, will be recorded as well. So as part of that, you'll have all those capabilities available to you. Intuitive UI, so one-click tap capabilities to meet and collaborate. You also have things such as a personal ID that can be established so that the system automatically generates an ID system. But we've introduced a lot of intuitive UI capabilities that actually allow you to create your own personal IDs. High definition meetings, so you've got very high definition carrier grade video and audio conferencing capabilities. Fairly simple, easy to use permissions and controls that can be done during the meeting. Chat capabilities, the ability to actively schedule and sync meeting time periods with your calendars like Outlook. The mobility integration pieces that we've talked about being able to view and access meetings or even host meetings from a mobility perspective. Your integration capabilities, so things such as Outlook, Dropbox, Google Drive, in the sense that of actually having the ability to schedule meetings within your commonly used applications, or in the event of storage requirements, being able to, for example, store recordings, for example, that automatically integrates with your Google Drive, so that you're not necessarily taking up bandwidth either on the Business Connect system, or if there's a certain number of recordings that you want to store for longer than 90 days, this is where the integrations comes into place. And then finally, the reporting piece of it. So you have the abilities to view and export meeting usage, a length of meeting, types of users that have been on the call, that type of stuff. So just a few tips and tricks, to remember while hosting a meeting, while managing participants. You can change a participant to a host. You can remove a participant, lock your meeting, turn the entry exit sound on or off, and more. So options to control the participants, muting and unmuting them, making them a host. All those capabilities are available within the participant window. The ability to view your participants, and then the options to control the meeting. For example, under the More option, mute the entry, play and exit chimes, lock the meeting, and then lock screen sharing capabilities, so only you can share and it's not available to other users. This is the type of stuff that's available. Now, when these windows obviously open up, this is only visible to the host itself. This is not something that will be visible to other users. You don't want people getting pissed off and says, why is this guy locking this out, or why am I not able to screen share? So these are limited to the actual host itself, but some interesting tips and tricks. Another tip and trick that we've run into commonly is how do you reduce audio echoes? And this has been commonly used where you can automatically join the audio by computer when joining a meeting. Leave these options unchecked actually helps to improve the overall audio performance that we've seen and tested. So something that you could be start to incorporate into some of your meetings to really improve the overall quality and performance. So just a couple of the key features that we'll talk through, and we've mentioned this very briefly, but related to sessions and call recording, the ability to start a session and stop a session, allow not only yourself but other users to actually do the call recording, and the ability to then store those either on your desktop or through third-party integration. So we have a product that some of you are aware of. We launched a few months back called Archiver that essentially allows you to automatically sync not only call recordings but texts and voicemails into a third-party storage system automatically. So once you've actually set it up once, it'll automatically set it up, and you're good to go. The value of that is that the system limits the number of recordings that are stored in the cloud. Beyond a certain time period, if you need it for a longer time, this is where the integration to Archiver comes into play. Anecdote during the screen sharing capabilities, which is really providing users with the ability to provide more interactive sessions with content. Mouse, your draw, spotlighting, erase, color, undo, redo, clear, and save. So essentially basic capabilities to make the meetings much more interactive, which are available to not only you but other users on the call to highlight specific areas. And then the other one is personal meeting IDs. So some of you may or may not be familiar with this, but when somebody is setting up a meeting through the meetings application, it automatically generates a number, and it generates a meeting ID. To make it simpler for users, especially if it's ongoing meetings that you're having, you can actually set your own personal IDs to make it easier for yourself or others to remember how to log into a specific meeting. So we'll go through those as an example. So again, I'll pass it over to Doug, and he can showcase to you a little bit about each one of these. So Doug.
Thank you again, Reza. I'll just do my screen share. There we go. So we're going to show off the Business Connect meetings interface. And of course, that's the application. We're going to start a quick meeting. And once the meeting launches, of course, you get the window to allow you to connect your audio and do your screen share management. When I screen share, it does open up additional controls. And those controls, of course, are visible to the end users and yourself. Recording is probably one of the most important things. It does record locally on your PC, so transferring them is kind of automatic. That record button will show up at the top, a flashing red button. You do have the ability to allow other participants to record, and managing those through the participant management button as well. And that allows me to select that user, hitting that more button, and then allow that user to record. By default, they don't have the ability to record, so you've got the control of where that meeting actually resides after it's compiled. Now, I'll just end this meeting. We'll start another meeting as well. And there's that converting file. It opens it up as an MP4 file and does record and log that directly on your own PC in the TELUS Business Connect meeting folder on your local machine. So transferring it is really, it's automatic because it's already there. You don't have to worry about getting it from the cloud. You store it as long as you want. You can transfer it to cloud storage if you wish, or put it to a local file server. I'll just do another quick screen share. Now, one of the other things that seems to be a missed option a lot of people don't use is annotations. Once you get used to it, you do have a number of things you can do, different shapes and functions. You can highlight areas on a particular presentation. You can use the mouse highlighter so it stands out. The arrow will point to certain things that you're referencing while you're in that meeting. You can also do freehand. My freehand isn't the best, so I just did a funny little shape. And of course, if you make a mistake, you can use the eraser and erase that last change that you did, and go back to allowing, say, pointers You could point at certain things and then highlight, who made that change, and of course change colors to make it even more visible to those end users. Now, at the same time, other participants inside the conference can highlight or make notes or references where they may have questions, and they can draw circles around things, or they can point arrows and adjust different things inside their interface. They can control their erase capabilities, as well as the host can control everybody's screen as far as what they see for annotation. So the entire screen can be cleared by the host using that clear button. Also, the save button will allow for a quick snapshot of all of the images that are on there to save it locally in the TELUS Business Connect meeting folder again. Now, in the setup function of Business Connect meetings, it does allow for that personal meeting ID that Reza mentioned. I really like the personal meeting ID because you can use any 10-digit phone number. My 10-digit phone number happens to be a Vancouver phone number, and that's what I've used for my personal meeting ID. Changing it, very, very easy to use it for every successive meeting from this point on. It's just a matter of checkbox. You can highlight it, change it to whatever you wish. Use your cell phone number, your local number, your home number, whatever you wish, whatever is easy to remember. And then your meeting ID is always the same. When you send out an invite, people get used to it. They have that ability to have that meeting ID consistent, and you're not forgetting it. There you go, Reza. Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks, Doug. And we'll go to the last topic here, which was essentially call center features. So the idea behind the call center features is the ability to really train and coach sales and support staffs with advanced access to your team's phone calls, client that are dealing with client prospects or some sort of support element. And really what it is the ability to do things like monitor a specific call where users can listen in basically on what's happening, the ability to whisper or coach where a supervisor can essentially advise an agent on specific types of capabilities or specific communication pieces, part of a training effort. The barge capability. The other services would be related to things like takeover. If a call is not going well and the supervisor wishes to take over a call, he can immediately do that. I mean, this is essentially a service that is available for premium and premium plus users. The value of this is that these are call center features that essentially are typically part of a basic call handling package within third-party contact center solutions. The value of this is that it really saves in the additional investments into a solution or investing into a solution with some of these basic capabilities. And looking at a call center solution and only needing these types of capabilities, it may be overkill. So users may be paying. We've seen situations where users are paying upwards of $2,000 per month as an entry-level package for 10 plus users for these basic call handling capabilities, while Business Connect just includes it as part of its premium and premium plus packages. So we mentioned some of the key benefits here: call monitoring from a desk phone, hearing your sales and staff and support agents while they're speaking with customers, leads, or clients. Simple commands from your desk phone to empower you to monitor calls or whisper to your staff during active calls, supporting up to 100 call monitoring groups per account, and then the ability to record those calls through automatic call recording. So you have all the other capabilities that we've mentioned, just enhanced through these call center features. So we'll walk through a little bit about some of the call center features and capabilities. So Doug's going to walk you through a bit more about this information. So Doug, I will hand this off to you. I believe we're sharing the same screen, right?
Yep. Just need you to advance the slides a little bit. So probably the biggest key feature inside the barge and monitor, essentially barging, or is essentially monitoring, is the ability to build that into the presence capability of the system. So you've got your indicator either on the heads-up display, or it's a red or green indicator on a desk phone. When you're monitoring and you're part of that call center function inside your group. Being a manager, you can instantly have the ability to do active monitoring by just pressing the key. And it shows on the center of the screen there. You can actually click on, on a particular user and monitor that call directly. Next screen, please. And silent monitoring really allows for that supervisor to hear both sides of the conversation, the customer and the agent. Neither one of them are, knowing that that call is being monitored. That monitor is truly silent, and having the ability for that manager or supervisor to listen to that call is essential to managing that group. Next slide. And when it comes to the point where you've got that junior employee or even a senior employee that you have to remind that maybe there's a special that month, or they might have misquoted a certain fact that they're trying to get across to the customer, that supervisor can whisper that information to the agent without the customer hearing the manager, and always going back to silent monitoring just by hitting *80 back on their phone. Next key. And if that manager is required to jump into a call, the supervisor can hit that *82 and jump into the call, instantly creating that three-way conference. Everybody hears everybody, and allows for the supervisor to do clarification or whatever's required, maybe to close that last deal of that last month, to hit their numbers and progress even further, and always going back to being able to hit *80 and go back to silent monitoring if they wish. And finally, the takeover function allows for that supervisor to grab that call, as Reza has mentioned, when the agent has handed that off. Maybe it's an escalation call, and the customer wants to speak privately to the supervisor, or vice versa. The supervisor wants to speak privately to the customer. It drops that agent, and the agent can go back to taking or making calls as they need. And that concludes Call Whisper and Monitor.
Great. Thank you. Thanks again, Doug. So that concludes really the Business Connect feature capabilities. Our intention, as I mentioned before, is to run these things. We're going to be running them on a monthly basis. But we wanted to pause right now to see if there's any specific questions related to what we've covered, and we're hoping to have those answered.
Thank you, Reza and Doug, for the fabulous presentation and demo. I've been using Business Connect for over a year and definitely found the tips and tricks very helpful, so thank you. So on that note, we are now moving into the Q&A session of the webinar. So as a reminder to all the participants, if you have a question, please use the chat feature at the bottom of your screen. Select all panelists and type in your questions. We'll try our best to answer as many questions in the given time that we have. And in the event that we're not able to get to all your questions, please do follow up with your sales representative. So I'm just going to quickly check the queue right now. Oh, it looks like we've got a number of them right now. Let me start off with the first question. So this one's from Mike. Doug, in one of your demos, you talked about call park. How long does this take to set up the park locations?
Great question, Mike. Yeah, call park is very easy to actually set up, and I can quickly screen share my screen, and I'll show you where it is inside the system. When you log into Voice Manager, you're going to see on the phone system the Groups button on the left-hand side. That Group button will open up all your various groups that you're allowed to set up. The Park Locations is one of those tabs. From that location, you create that hold position, and I'm going to grab one and just create one real quick. Doesn't take very long. Once that park location, this number is rather arbitrary. You can do whatever you want. You give the name of that park location. Because I've already got 6, I'm going to make this one hold 7. And save it, of course. Then it's going to ask me, now that you've created that hold position, do you want to assign users to be able to use it? And I'm going to say yes. Okay, what users can use this? Users of the park location, and this is where you set up those private groups, whether it's departmentalized. Say it's just, and I can sort just by department of my user list, by the way, because this is a field that inside each one of the user profiles. And I'm just going to set this for the accounting group. So I'm going to get Norman Bates and Fred Dobbs. They have the ability now to have that private park location. Once that private park location is set up on the mobile app, it's automatically assigned as a particular location. For the users, for Fred and Norman, now you have to set up that presence key on their particular phone. So we can look at the accounting department, and there they are. So we can look at either one of them. I'll just do one at this point. So I'll look at Norman Bates. On his phone, you would go to phones and numbers, and if he had a particular phone, you would set up that presence key to include those hold buttons, and that hold button then of course shows up here as a hold availability. So there's that hold 7 button. Once that's saved, then that phone will reboot and rebuild that key map to show the hold function. Okay, hope that answered your question.
Thanks, Doug. Okay, the second question we've got is from Michael. It's around call recordings. So could you touch upon where they're stored again?
Sure, absolutely. All the call recordings in the system to do with automatic or on-demand call recording are recorded and stored in our cloud. So under the phone system, the setup of call recording is done through Auto Receptionist, and call recording is one of those options inside Auto Reception. With standard, premium, premium plus, on-demand or ad hoc call recording is available all the time, and it's always there. Those call recordings are stored in the cloud for 90 days. With Standard Edition, you get 10,000 file locations, and they're stored up to 3 hours in length per call, and they can be downloaded. Reza had mentioned the archiver availability. I won't go into that, but that allows you to transfer those call recordings to a local drive or another cloud storage provider that you would like to use. And going back to the recordings themselves, the call recordings, the announcements are customizable. Of course, they can be recorded to fit your need, your business requirements. Automatic call recording will allow, of course, you get the confirmation and the legal jargon to authorize. It will have that call recording announcement. Again, this is customizable. You can have the periodic tones, the announcement on exit, and of course you can allow that mute function. So if you're taking pertinent information down from a customer, you can quickly mute that call recording and stop it. Take that credit card number, whatever it might be, and then start recording again to allow the call to continue. Once the automatic call recording is turned on, selecting which individuals is very powerful tool inside the interface. So I have the ability to select what individual and what direction those calls are recorded automatically. So I can have incoming calls recorded for these individuals, outgoing calls for these individuals, and allow call queues to be recorded as well, and any paging that's done if you wanted to monitor any of that information. The call recordings, really quickly to get at them, are under the call log function, and call log will show you any call recordings that show up, and there's a couple right there. There's a call recording and a call recording. They could be played immediately just by clicking on the button and allow you to listen to that. And at the same time, they can be downloaded using the download button, the ad hoc download, and again, as Reza mentioned, the archiver can do it automatically, and that will download those recordings on an hourly basis, 24 hours a day, to whatever location you wish to send them to. I hope that answered your question.
Thanks, Doug. Yes, it does. Actually, on that note, so let's say, for example, a 2-hour meeting's just ended. I'm, running to go catch my train. If I close my laptop or leave the office, and will the call recording automatically continue converting from where I left it off, or do I have to leave it open?
That's talking about a different thing. The call recording, of course, is instantaneous. It is recorded in the cloud and stores in the cloud. The call recording or meetings recording, that is something that has to be processed locally, and it will process and continue to process once you fire your laptop again. But again, that's meeting recording as opposed to call recording.
Gotcha. Okay, thanks, Doug. The next question I have on the queue is, how do I mute participants during a meeting? This is from Jason.
Okay, fantastic. Jason, if Reza, if you could pop up that slide again with the participant management. Inside the meeting functionality of Business Connect, inside Business Connect meetings, we've got the ability to manage individual users, and there's that slide. And all of the users in that participant panel that you'll see in the participant panel on the right-hand side, you'll notice there's a mute all button. So the host can mute the entire organization. So it can become essentially a webinar or a one-way meeting. So if you're having that team meeting, with participants all over the place, some are on cell phones, some are using USB headsets on a PC or a Mac, some are dialing in, some are on vacation dialing in, and there's background noise. It can be instantly cleared up by hitting that mute all. And at the same time, the indicator on the right-hand side where you see that microphone will flash. It'll flash green when somebody is speaking. And if you notice there's feedback or noise in the background, that individual user can be muted just by highlighting that mute button, say beside Francis Gonzalez, and mute that individual user. And they will, of course, get the notification. Their microphone will be crossed off automatically on their end of their interface. So if they need to speak, they can unmute themselves, start to talk, and then they can mute them again. And that really cleans up the audio portion of it.
Great, thank you. So in the interest of time, we've got time for 2 more questions. The second last question is from Victor. How do you set up a call monitoring group?
Fantastic. Okay, let me screen share again. I'll go back to the Voice Manager interface. In the Voice Manager interface, call monitoring is set up again under the groups icon, and that has its own tab right beside park locations, call monitoring. And this is kind of twofold because it ties into presence as well. So you can create that group that you want, and of course I can do another group, set it up as a call monitor group, and very, very quickly it can be set up. I'll just leave it as the default name. You basically select the users that can monitor the group, and this is essentially the manager or managers of the particular group. I'm going to make Gordon Gecko because he's a big boss. And then I have to select the users that can be monitored, so the agents inside that queue. And again, you can do a sort by users, groups or others, depending on what you're looking for. You can if you have a massive list of users, you can sort by name if you wish, or if they show up right away, I'm just going to grab Fred Dobbs and Jeff Spicoli, and that group is now set up, and that's all there is to it. Now, what's important is when you take the next step on Gordon's phone, he will have the members of his group or his direct reports set up as presence keys, either in his heads-up display on the soft client, or they're set up on presence keys on the phone. He then just has to, because he's got this monitoring group set up, and all he has to do is actually press the key to start monitoring or listening to that group, and that's how easy it is to set that up. Hope that answered your question.
Great, thanks, Doug. Okay, and we're on to the last question. So are there any toll-free numbers for Business Connect meetings or Audio Bridge? Today, they're all local numbers. So for example, Richard is from Vancouver, BC. There's a 604 number. Are there any 1-800 numbers?
Yes. So so effective last week, there are now new toll-free numbers to dial in anywhere from North America. The toll-free numbers are for both meetings and for your audio bridge. And these the meeting ones that are available to you is a 1-855 number, so 1-855-959-9009. And then for the audio bridge, you have 1-844-511-2074. So those are currently available to all Business Connect users.
Great, thank you, Reza. So on that note, that concludes the Q&A session. So just as a reminder to all the participants, this recording was recorded. It will be shared to all your TELUS sales representatives after this shortly. So over on that note, thank you, Reza and Doug. Reza, I'll hand it over to you for last words.
Yeah, and thank you everybody for joining. We're at the top of the hour right now. Our objective behind this, we hope that there was some value associated with this for you. As we mentioned before, just very quickly, I just wanted to showcase where some of this information is available to you from a TELUS Business Connect perspective. So if you're visiting telus.com/Business Connect, there are a lot of user guides, administration guides that are available at your disposal for any additional information. Our intention behind these webinars is to host them to you on a monthly basis. So if there are any specific topics that you want to have covered, please get in touch with your TELUS sales reps. That will then be furthered on to Claire and other group members, and then we will ensure that we cover that in the next monthly topics. And I wanted to thank everybody for joining, and we look forward to seeing you again.